This is News Conference Extra with Conan Nolan.
Good morning and welcome to News Conference Extra, a special segment of Today in LA Weekend. I'm Conan Nolan. Joining us is Kristen Welker, host of Meet the Press, which airs every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. So, Kristen, we know you're going to have Governor Gavin Newsom on. We'll want to talk about that in a minute. But I have to tell you, first, it's the Colorado Supreme Court. They make a decision regarding Donald Trump being on the ballot in that state, and that reverberates all over the country, and it changes the dynamic. Now we have the state Supreme Court of Alabama on an issue of in vitro fertilization that can reach out and touch or have a major influence on the November campaign in the fall. Can you explain, first of all, to the viewers what this decision from Alabama could do in terms of putting Republicans on the hot seat when it comes to a central issue of childbearing?
Well, I think, Conan, that you capture it perfectly, which is that it is putting Republicans in the hot seat. I mean, we are seeing, and I've been talking to Republican strategists who say, look, this is yet another twist in the post-Roe era, and it's yet another indication, they have said to me, that there wasn't a unified political plan or messaging plan for how to deal with some of these thorny issues that have come up post-Roe. Now you have this extraordinary ruling in Alabama, a state Supreme Court saying that, yes, embryos are children and therefore entitled to all of the rights that a child would be entitled to. What have we seen since then? I can tell you, former President Trump, the GOP frontrunner, weighed in for the first time saying he opposes the decision and calling on the state legislator to pass a measure to protect the services, saying that he supports the availability of IVF for couples who are trying to have a precious baby. That tells you everything that you need to know about how the party writ large is going to respond. Now, there have been some, I think, steps and missteps along the way. We saw his challenger, Nikki Haley, come out and say, yes, she believes that embryos are children. She later walked that back and said, hey, wait a minute, that she was talking about, she says, herself personally. What is also notable is that the NRSC, the National Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee, just sent out a memo to candidates saying you should make it very clear that you support having these services be available to those who want to expand their families through IVF. So the reaction from within the Republican Party at first, I think a little tepid, uncertain how to respond. But now, boy, particularly in the wake of this Trump statement, very clear that they understand the politics of this and, frankly, the impact of this. Bottom line, Conan, this issue is going to be front and center from now until November, I think.
Right. We got an email from Michelle Steele, Republican from Orange County, a competitive race. She said she disagrees with that decision. She went through in vitro fertilization. For people to understand, the Supreme Court, there was a suit where a laboratory was sued for the accidental destruction of embryos, and the Supreme Court said that is a wrongful death case. And as a result of that, that has a chilling effect on anybody who performs that service, because they don't want to be sued for wrongful death if something goes wrong. To the other point, though, and that is this whole issue of reproductive rights has been problematic for Republicans for some time now, as you pointed out in the last campaign. My guess is nobody saw this coming.
No one saw this coming. And I think that what you had was this decades-long, frankly, Conan, a half a century-long effort to try to overturn Roe v. Wade, and there was so much focus. And look, I'm basing this on my conversations with Republicans, with anti-abortion advocates who have said, yes, we were so focused on that moment that there hasn't been the same type of planning for what happens after that moment, and there hasn't been a unified message. What is the official Republican Party's viewpoint? Now, look, we have reporting, and the New York Times broke this, NBC News has confirmed, I've confirmed this with my sources, that former President Trump wants a 16-week ban. So he hasn't come out and said that yet. This is something that has been reported. Will he come out and announce this at some point? We'll have to wait and see. Will that become the official Republican position? We know that Lindsey Graham's official position, for example, has been 15 weeks. We haven't seen him reintroduce that bill, though, by the way, in this legislature. That is notable. But, of course, there are a lot of other issues that Congress has been focused on. But I do think that there is a struggle to get to a unified issue on this message that resonates with so many people, and frankly, that moderate voters, women voters, independent voters think is very critical and will help determine how they vote.
And finally, I know you have Governor Gavin Newsom on this morning, so I've always been of the opinion that he has not been running for president. There's no chance. He was not running for president. You don't run against an incumbent Democrat. It would ruin your career. But what he has been running for is to be the #1 Democrat in the country whose name is not Joe Biden, the face of the new Democratic Party. So when the 81-year-old president moves on, Gavin Newsom is the one you think of when you think of the Democratic Party. That's what his campaign has been about. And since this is a one-party state, he's had to go to Florida to fight Republicans. He's had to go to Texas to fight Republicans and gain a national exposure. Your thoughts?
What a great way to frame it, and now you give me an idea for a new question, Conan. I think you're right. I think there's absolutely no way he is running for office right now. He's gotten that question 4 million times. Each time he has said absolutely not, that he is staunchly behind the Biden-Harris ticket. At the same time, look at what he has done this year. He has traveled to China to meet with the leader of China, to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel. That is not typical behavior that we usually see from a governor. So clearly he is keeping his eye on a broader political landscape. Is he eyeing 2028? Does he want to position himself, as you say, as the face of the Democratic Party, the next generation? So we'll see how he answers all of these questions. But I think your framing is really smart, Conan.
You're very kind. Kristen Welker, host of Meet the Press, will be watching Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. Thanks very much for taking the time.
Thanks so much.
And NBC4's news conference program following Meet the Press, we will talk about Measure HLA, controversial. The argument is that it will spend money to help build bike lanes and more public transportation lanes, bus lanes, as well as improve sidewalks. But some groups are saying it's an unfunded mandate that's going to cost in other areas in terms of the city's budget. Plus, we'll take a look at the new PPIC poll on the race for California Senate. And on this, nearly the 2-year anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, we talked with the local Ukrainian Cultural Center president about the impact that has had on her relatives, her families, and the families of so many who live in Southern California, and the support they need from the United States. It's News Conference at 9 following Meet the Press. We'll see you then.